All right, good afternoon. This is Steve with Silbar Homes, and I have a very special guest today. This is Kyle West. Kyle is the CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Inland Northwest in Spokane. So welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, very happy to have you here. It's been a while since we did one of these, so I'm very happy to have Kyle with me as Big Brothers, Big Sisters, a great organization. As most of you have probably heard about them. You may not know that much about them, but that's why we're here with Kyle, so we can talk and learn a little bit. So let's get started. So how would you describe your organization to somebody who's not familiar with Big Brothers, Big Sisters?
So Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Inland Northwest is a nonprofit organization, and what we do is we recruit children and families to join our programs. So these are children who express a desire and a willingness to have a big brother or a big sister. And from our perspective, a big brother or a big sister is a mentor. So, we're recruiting children to enroll in programs for the sake of being paired with a mentor. And then at the same time, we're recruiting mentors, and we're always recruiting mentors. So mentors are adults that we screen and we train, we interview so that we get an idea of what their personalities are like, what their likes, their interests are. And we're doing the same thing with the kids that we enroll. And then we make a match. So we're basically matching these adult volunteers who are serving as mentors to the kids who enroll in our programs. And they engage in a mentoring relationship for anywhere from 12 months to a lifetime. And the average duration of our mentoring relationships is just over 3 years right
Wow,
now. So
that's great.
It's really impactful. And generally speaking, these are kids in a single parent household. They might be living with a parent or a guardian other than their parent, and oftentimes the parent or guardian might not have the bandwidth, they might not have the life experience. It could be a grandparent, it could be a neighbor, it could be a child who's been is in the foster care system, and whoever that guardian is, they just don't feel like they are in a position to provide the kind of guidance and kind of serve as a role model for these kids. So that's the gap that our mentors play in the lives of these kids.
Okay, that's excellent. Yeah, and I have some friends who are they're actually big sisters. And I actually know two specifically who I've actually watched their little sisters grow up through their interactions on Facebook, and I've met both of them a couple times, but it's pretty cool because I think they've both been 7, 8, 9 years at least, if not longer. So they're definitely on the longer end of the scale, but it's really cool because they've stayed with it. And and you see the benefit on both sides.
Absolutely, you're right, Steve. Every week we hear, from a parent, a guardian, or even a mentor or a kid that, my life is being transformed, or this life has been transformed through the mentoring experience. So it's really significant.
Excellent. So what do your members love most about the organization?
So I feel like they love the support. So we have dedicated staff who are checking in every month with it could be mentors, with parents, also a lot of interaction with the kids. We also bring our mentees and mentors together through community events. We bring parents and guardians together for special trainings or to share a meal. So there's just a lot of interaction. There's a fair amount of networking. And I just think, the experience of belonging to something like a family outside of your own kind of home environment is what they love most, and just the closeness they feel to our what we call our match support staff. So the staff that we have who interact with them on a regular basis.
Okay. And what has surprised you most about working here?
So I'm going to say this, but now that I'm here, it shouldn't be a surprise. But I didn't anticipate how much mentors would be fulfilled through this experience. I mean, I certainly thought about us providing a service to the kids who enroll in our programs, but time and time again, mentors love being mentored. I mean, volunteers love being mentors just as much as the kids love having a big brother or a big sister. I mean, it's really fulfilling for so many of the mentors that are in our program.
Yeah, I would imagine, just thinking about it, that a lot of people probably go into it as mentors thinking that, hey, I want to give back, and they don't really realize what they're going to get out of it too at the same time. And I'm sure the longer they're in it, the more they get, and that's going to keep them there longer, which is great for everybody involved.
Yeah,
So.
you're absolutely right about that.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is the most memorable experience you've had so far?
So it's been, there are a couple, and I've only been here since April of 2020, and I share that only because my entire tenure has been during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my experiences that would typically be in person,
Right.
with like the kids we serve and with mentors, there's been a lot of virtual experiences,
Yeah.
but it really is all of the opportunities that I have had to interact with the kids and the parents and guardians and mentors. So for example, this past summer, we had our picnic, I got to serve ice cream, I got to 100+ people were in line, and I got to have a little snippet of a conversation with each one and actually talk to parents and guardians and kids and the mentors and just kind of learn more about what they love about being a big or being a little. So every time I have an interaction, we just had our gala event, and we had one of our littles who joined us for the actual event. It was a live stream event, and she came early before the event, and I had the chance to interact with her, and then she participated during the event, and it was just really awesome, to have these interactions, just qualitative interactions with some of the persons who are part of our program.
Excellent. Okay. So what does the future hold for Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Inland Northwest?
So that's a really relevant question, because it feels like there's a lot of there continues to be a lot of reticence or hesitation, I think, on the part of the community to commit to serving as a volunteer. I mean, this is a big commitment, Steve.
Yeah.
So we're talking upfront,
Absolutely.
year and a half, you're gonna, you agreed to serve as a big brother, big sister. And I think because of the pandemic, there's been a lot of hesitation to engage in such a major relationship with somebody who is basically a stranger the first time you go out.
Yeah.
So when I think about the future, one of the things we're thinking about a lot right now is, what can we do in terms of our slate of programs to deliver an offering where everybody feels safe, and we can encourage volunteers to continue to inquire and apply and start these relationships. So I feel like we're trying to create more opportunities for rich and meaningful virtual interactions on a regular basis, just like high touch virtual, that can be complemented by in-person engagement activities. And we can kind of ride that model out through the pandemic, and then I anticipate we'll have kind of an influx of new volunteers who are ready for the flagship community-based mentoring program, just when everybody feels safe and we don't feel so divided and uncertain about what the world is like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got to be challenging. I mean, with everything with COVID, it has been obviously, but especially coming into a role like this where it is so focused on getting people together.
Yep.
And you haven't been able to do that, so completely get that. So what areas of Spokane do your big brothers and big sisters come from?
So they come from all around Spokane County, but if I look at a heat map of Spokane County and I just pick out the pockets of where our big brothers and big sisters are most concentrated, they're concentrated on the northwest side, so the Audubon area.
Okay.
And then there's a real high concentration kind of between north, I don't know the zip codes, but between northwest and north, so kind of as you're traveling up post in towards maybe towards the Wandermere area up there. Those are high concentrations, and then pockets of the South Hill, kind of the far South Hill, like the 99, 203, 204, 223. Those are zones, but really we do have mentors coming from all around Spokane County.
Okay.
But those are the 5 big zones where we get most of our mentors from.
Well, yeah, because one of the park bench sites that this is going to show up on is really the heart of 99205, which is downriver in Audubon.
Yep.
And then the other one that you're talking about, as you go up north, you go into 99208, which includes 5 Mile, which is another one of our park bench, and then 218, which is kind of leading up into Wandermere as well. So they're all kind of in this group as well, which is great.
Yeah, and it is 205 and 208. Those are the other two that I wasn't confident I could retrieve those from the file cabinet.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being a realtor, is just this immediate knowledge of zip codes and where they lay as far as Spokane goes. But Anyway, so do you have any advice to any aspiring leaders out there?
I do. Be willing to make a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
and more importantly, be willing to learn.
Okay.
I mean, it's the external environment, the world around us is always changing, and I mean that is the one true reality. And I recognize this may be cliche, but if you're standing still, if you're not in motion, if you're not willing to adapt, you're probably not going to be successful unless you happen to find a really static environment to operate in, and I feel like those environments are fewer and far between. So just be willing to try something new, be willing to learn from your mistakes, and adapt, move forward, progress.
Yeah, no, and that applies to a lot of different things. I learned that in my career in the hotel industry. I worked in a time when there were a lot of hotel companies buying and selling each other, and I was bought and sold many times. And I equated it to being a chameleon and just being flexible and changing colors, every day, what might happen. You're going a different direction, do something else. And just kind of go with the flow, because, that's what life is. And obviously, as we get into, the the early 2020s and all these things going on now, you have to be flexible.
Yep.
And just, things change, and they're going to change. So that change is the only constant. And
Yep.
it's how do you change with that? So
Yep.
Excellent. Great advice. Appreciate that. So that wraps it for this episode. Would like to thank Kyle West again with Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Inland Northwest. I'll have Kyle's information on the screen in a moment, so if you want to reach out, please do so. We'd love to bring more people in to volunteer and help out more people in the community. So thank you for watching Silbar Homes. You can always reach me at silbarhomes.com. Google me, you'll find 10 different ways to reach me as well. But again, thanks again to Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay,
Appreciate
take
it.
care.